Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Brynka Beacon. My name is Todd DeVries. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Brynka. I'm joined today by Brenda Fick. I think you all know Brenda. She's our president. And a nice surprise, I didn't realize Peggy was going to be here. Peggy Smith is also with Brynka. And we have a couple of guest speakers, which I'm going to introduce momentarily. Today's topic is campus business services, how to generate additional revenue for your organization. And as I mentioned, our special guest speakers today are Michael Lloyd. He's the Director of Campus Support Services for the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. And after Michael, Don McCarty will be joining us. Don is the Director of Postal Passport and Printing Services for East Tennessee State University. Brenda, did you have any words at the top here before we dive right into our guest speakers?
No, I'm very excited. I'm glad everyone is here. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. I've known Michael and Don for a while now, going to many NACMs and CUMSA's organization trade shows, and I'm very happy for both of them to be with us, as well as everyone that is joining on Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to have more and more of these as much as possible through the year. Thank you again, Mike and Don.
All right. As with all of our Brynka Beacons, we try to make these interactive. So hopefully the Zoom chat feature is working for you guys. If you wouldn't mind just popping in a nice message just to let us know that you're able to use that chat and that we can see your comments, that would be wonderful. All right. And Brenda, if you could help me monitor the chat throughout the call, that would be wonderful as well. Thank you so much. Okay. So let's turn it over to our speakers. Michael, you want to kick things off? I think you have the ability to share your screen.
All right. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. My name is Mike Lloyd. I'm the Director of Campus Support Services here at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. I'm responsible for several operations from postal, both student, departmental mail, shipping and receiving. Just a little bit about my background. I have a USPS passport. I'm responsible for the university printing. I have a full service print shop, also the enterprise printing for the campus, where we have over 168 copiers that we utilize throughout our campus. I'm also responsible for departmental shipping as well in central receiving. I have other revenue operations that report to me, such as recycling, surplus, licensing, probably missing one or two more, but that's just a little bit about my background. So I thank Brenda and her team for inviting me today to discuss how to generate additional revenue. One of the things that I want to start out with saying is that, first of all, you need to know your money. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to discuss. But what we're going to plan on discussing is some strategic ideas to help increase revenue. So with that being said, let's move. What if you could reduce your expense but increase your revenue? Given the reality of today's budgets, unexpected revenue could be a welcome addition to any operation. Some businesses have discovered how to enhance their operations capability and the bottom line. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. One, thinking outside the box, making sure that you can generate revenue and some revenue ideas that you may have not thought about. As I said, I have a full print and mail operation, so I welcome questions. Just drop them in the chat, and towards the end or in between, we'll get to those questions. So our topic for today, we're going to discuss defining your target audience, focusing on the benefits, not the features, talking about your brand. How are your organization or your unit is looked at? We're going to talk a little bit about marketing resources, and if time permits, we're going to talk about you being the expert in the industry and some business savings opportunities. And I'm also going to give you some examples of revenue options that are outside the box. So there's only 4 ways to increase revenue. One is increasing the number of customers, which increasing your average transaction size. In other words, trying to get more customers to purchase more. And to increase the frequency of the transaction per customer. In other words, getting your customer to purchase more often. And then the 4th is to raise the prices. These are 4 ways to increase the revenue. We're going to talk a little bit about each one of them and how these ways impact our operation. To enhance your revenue opportunity, it's important that you focus on the most effortless by serving the ideal customer. What is your customer base? And we're going to talk a little bit about that, because your customer base is what drives your revenue. The more ideal customer that you attract, the greater the revenue potential is for your operation. So let's jump right into it. So let's start with defining our audience. Why is that important in gaining revenue? When you go to Target, they totally define their audience by their brand. And us as colleges and universities, we need to focus clearly on knowing who our audience is. And why is our brand important, and why is targeting our audience important? Because those are the individuals that purchase your consumables, whether it's printing, whether it's mail, whether it's graphics or designs. These are the individuals that you're attempting to attract. So know who your target audience is. Where is your target audience is located? Here on the campus of UNCW, we're 40% residents. So they pay a large part of our audience, our targeted audience, because they are captive. They are a captive audience. But I also have to look at the other percentage, the 10% that I may have in faculty and staff. How am I targeting them? How am I engaging them? And then our non-traditional students, those that commute to campus. So we look and plan knowing our audience. What do they think about your brand? What do they think about your service? How's your reputation among your target audience? I'm also over vending here at the campus of UNCW, and even just today I met with my Coca-Cola reps. One of the things that we talk about is the brand, how the brand is merchandised and presented, across campus, and the service level. I have expectations for them, and your customers that utilize your services have expectations for you. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. What would you like them to think about you? What do you like your customer and your customer base, your reputation to the industry? How will you attract them to your product and services? In today's age, we have to be more than just a mail center, more than just a print shop, more than just a copy center. We have to be multifaceted to service not only the customer's needs, but the changes in the environment. Who else is competing for the loyalty and devotion of your customers? Outsourced shops are out there shopping around looking for an opportunity to provide a service to your customers that you are not capable to provide. So in increasing your revenue, you have to be willing to look outside the box, but also expand your area of expertise. So why is that important? Well, it's important because, as I said earlier, there's others out there trying to do what you do and trying to lure those customers. So it's important that we study our competitors. What are they selling? What products are they selling, and how they're displaying them, how they're promoting them. We need to target in on those areas that will lure our customers to our services. If it's mail, then I need to be emphasizing the importance of the turnaround on my service. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Not only the turnaround, but the cost savings and the efficiency and the professionalism. It's important that you conduct focus groups and do surveys from time to time. One, it lets you know what your customers think of you and think of your services, gives you ideas on how to improve it, but also survey tells you the truth about how you're doing as an organization and as a business. So this is something that I learned very early in my career, especially when it comes to revenue. I've learned never to list the features of my business, the products or services that I provide to the client, but instead the benefits, how those services are going to benefit them. By focusing on the benefits and not the features or the products or services, you can provide a solution to your customer's problem. And us in the education realm, especially when it comes to graphics or mail, we're providing a service, a solution service for whether it's for the recruitment of students, whether it's the recruitment of alumni to participate in the alumni programs, or whether it's fundraising. We're aiding in their solution to meet their ultimate goal. So when we focus on the benefits and not the features, customers are very selfish and in a way that it's all about them. They suffer from what I call the WIIFM syndrome. In other words, what's in it for me? We as consumers, when we do our personal shopping, we use that same syndrome. What is it? What is in it for me? When they read your marketing material or information about your business, your product and service, they often stop and say, that's great, but what? So we have to have an answer about but what, and that's where we talk about the benefits. The best thing you can do is to step into the shoes of the customers and ask yourself, what kind of information would I want them to see or search for when it comes to my product and service of my business? And by focusing on the benefits and not the feature, we give them information that draws them in, especially into areas in which they may have not thought about in their initial request for service. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. One of the things I also want to talk about in adding additional revenue to your operation is, and I talked a little bit about that, is your branding, your brand strategy. It's important that you be branded, that you develop a brand, that when they hear your name speaks of the quality and the service that you provide. People, when you hear Walmart, you already know what you're gonna expect from their service. When you hear Target, you know what you expect from the service. When you hear FedEx, and you put together the FedEx taglines, you already know what to expect for their service. And for some of these services, you're willing to pay a little bit more for that service because you know that you're receiving a quality product from their brand. And what does that do? Your brand draws them closer to you. You draw them in until the point that your brand speaks for itself. Developing a brand strategy. The objective of developing a good brand, developing a good brand will include the following: customer service. Your company name leaves a strong impression. It's about your reputation. It talks about products and benefits and the value of your services. What it does, it delivers a clear message, confirms your credibility, connects your target audience to your product, and motivates the customers. Your brand in your strategy plan also creates customer loyalty. What does customer loyalty provide you? More revenue in the end. So let's give you some examples about branding and branding strategies. In my operations, we went through a name change, a branding of our operations. My copy center, formerly known as the Ditto's Copy Center, Campus Copy Center, we changed the brand name to iPrint Business Center. By changing the name to iPrint Business Center, it gave us an opportunity to expand the services by the name. And I'll talk a little bit as we go through this presentation, a little bit about some of those services that we've added in order to gain additional revenue. My post office, it was called Postal Services, a post office. We're Seahawk Mail. So when you hear that ring, you know the type of service, you know the relationship to the institution and what that service provides. My print shop, we used to be just printing services. Now we're Cprint Graphic Solutions. So our tagline tells us a little bit more about the services, which in return generate a brand, a name, and also additional revenue opportunities for our organization, because it doesn't narrow us into one particular area. It lets us know that we're broad in service. In developing that strategy brand, you need to relate it to the customer benefits. In our iPrint Business Center, as you can see in our branding tags, easy, convenient, and reliable. For my C copy, speed, electronic access copying. So tag your, when you're branding, look at the relationship. You know, if you look at Target, you see the Target logo. That means that first thought that comes to mind is that they have the service and products in which you need. So look at the branding and how your operation is branded in relation to the services in which you provide it. Marketing and resources. This is where you have the opportunity to gain additional revenue by marketing and promoting and implementing plans for resources. And a lot of these resources are available to you at little to no cost. Email. Make sure that you got taglines on your emails that go out promoting services that your operation provides, to make people aware of some of the capabilities of your operation. That aids in generating additional revenue. by putting ads in campus newsletters, participating in the orientation sessions, being part of the orientation sessions. You're promoting your services, making your services aware to the campus, to the parents, and to those individuals that are participating in the orientation sessions. And social media. If you're not using social media, you're missing an excellent opportunity to promote services that you currently have in order to attract those that will use it. Campus radio and TV. These are services that I utilize in all my operation with promotionals, which allow us to advertise in areas that we normally wouldn't reach. Student fairs. Participating in the student fairs, putting out a table, promoting your services. Those are ways to lure and draw in additional customers in that process. And also recruitment material. We provide ads in our recruitment material, and some of the things that we do in adding those ads, it lets the prospective students let the prospective students get the opportunity to introduce them to the services and that we provide before they even get to campus. And website and virtual tours. I'm make sure that you have current data and on your website, and also touring of the website. I think we got a question out there. Brenda asks, "How did I get into printing?" Well, my degree is graphic arts. I started out in printing and moved over to mail.
Okay, so
as part of my responsibilities.
Okay, so how'd you get into mail?
How did I get into the mail? Well, one of the things that I done when I was in printing, I did the bulk mail, and we had a change in leadership here at the university, and they needed an individual to address some issues within mail. And on an interim basis, I went from printing to mail to organize it. 7 years later, I end up with printing and mail. And so that's how the merger piece of printing and mail started. I am by trade, I am a graphic artist. So I tend to lean towards the print side, but I have a passion for the mail because I've grown the mail here on our campus. And that's how the mail and printing merged.
So you're also now in vending and you're in parking. So are you constantly looking at the maybe the university and what they're looking for as far as hiring, and going to, or just talking to management and saying, listen, I'm open to having additional revenue streams, whatever you need or to work on, I can help. How do you
Well,
find those additional?
Well, for me, I am as a director, I'm an auxiliary director. So, as an auxiliary director, I deal with revenue outside of the government issued revenue. So, in other words, large majority of my operations, in order to remain functional, I have to make revenue from my operations. So. I don't get a lot of general funds. Some of my areas are general funds, but most of my areas are receipt. One of the things about it, and this is why I started out this presentation talking about the different revenue sources, that you have to know your money. How are you funded? Are you funded through general funds? Are you funded through receipts? Are you receiving student fees? Is there other resources, internal and external, that you can use? In my operations, I have a combination of all. I got some areas that I have charges for, such as in my mail area. I receive a student fee for every student on campus to have a contract station on campus, but I also have a mailbox charge, and you have to be extremely careful in those terminologies as well, for the uses of the service and the mail services on the campus. But staff members that deliver to the departments across campus are funded through the state general fund. So you have to know your revenue sources. And part of my success is that I do have a good understanding of the revenue sources and how to navigate those revenue sources with change, how to request for additional funding when the costs of services continuously go up, but your budget is not moving. But also you have to also realize how to address service issues when you have a postal system that where mailing has decreased, but the demand is still there. So I work very closely with a lot of my other revenue customers, in which I was going to touch a little bit on, such as my advancements, such as my admissions, such as my housing. I work very closely, even my food services. I work with them in their campaigns so that the printing and assisting in the printing is done internally, so that the mailing is done through my standard mail. But I'm also providing them resources of savings, because if the funds are tight for them in their operation, in order for me to make funds, I have to give them resources in order to save their money, such as using postcards instead of the booklets that you normally use, and using the postcards, maxing the printable areas out, and mailing them standard mail, and doing planning in that they get the same effect that directs them to their websites, in which they can drop additional literature. Once you get a hit on the website, now we can use target information that we collect, and send out individual packets, because now this student has took a survey, and now we can send them a packet for our School of Nursing. That's how I work internally in order to generate revenue. My post office makes money, my print shop makes money, and my mail center makes money in collaboration with that, making sure that I'm working with my alumni association with their events. The other thing is also showing your customers the savings and how they save. If you're doing standard mail, on every piece that you send back to when you bill them, you need to let them know how much they save versus first class postage. If you're doing first class postage, you need to make sure that those discounts that are applied, that the customer knows, and they don't have to know everything. I have, even in my print areas, I have contracts where I am the middleman, where I'm selling wholesale. I also have vendors, and this is how the industry has changed, to the point that a lot of production that I used to do in-house, I no longer do, because I have agreements and contracts that makes it more cost efficient for me to have it outsourced and done in-house. But also, because I am purchasing those items at a wholesale price, my customers are also benefiting from those services, because my markup is not the standard markup. My markup is a small markup, will give my customers a 15 to 20% savings. If you want to go out to get a quote from a outsourced vendor on your mail and your printing, go ahead, because I know those customers are going to give you their standard retail costs. But I make money because I am the middleman as part of my implant, and so my markup is not as high as it would be on the retail side because I don't need it. I have a captive audience. Does that answer your question? I know I didn't went way off from what I was doing on the presentation.
No, but that really answered it. Thank you so much.
And one of the things about revenue and knowing your money is how it is applied to your operation and making sure that you have a good understanding of the operation. I know Don has to go behind me, so I'm going to move right along real quick and be open for questions because there's probably more questions about generating the revenue that may be specific. Marketing resources that we use, if I mentioned earlier, QR codes, the usage of standard mail to engage your customers. I tell my campus that I am the industry expert, and you should be the industry expert engaging with your customers. What happens? They gain trust in you, your expertise. You give them ideas on how to save money, and everybody looks for a deal, a good sale. You become the service provider, in other words, like I like to say, of a provider of choice. I tell my team to kill them with kindness so that they remember the 9 jobs that we did excellent versus the 1 job that somebody forgot to do something, whether it's on the customer side or whether it's on the operation side. Being the expert in your industry, you build customer loyalty, you provide professionalism and service, you impart trust in your product, and you become the provider of choice. And that's what we are here at the campus of UNCW. I engage all my customers with revenue opportunities, and I engage them in a professional manner. I bring everybody to the table. I bring my mail manager. I bring my print manager. I bring even my shipping cart to the table to ensure that the customer knows that they're valued, and let them know that we're here to meet their business needs, and that we're going to work within your restraints to give you the best product at the best cost. And in return, I get the loyalty of the customer, I get continuous business, and I get word of mouth. I do over $500,000 in just outsourced printing from non-UNCW services, where I have individuals come in from off the street, bringing their business works to my operation, whether it's mailing, whether it's printing. And so that goes back to my brand, my name, my reputation, and the professionalism in which I have. Me being an implant, doing over $500,000 of services for non-university individuals. I even got FedEx coming in where I'm doing all their plaques and banners for them. And this goes back to providing that expertise and service and that professionalism, and also building that brand. So I talked earlier about business savings equals profits, discounts on profits and savings, whether it's from business reply, pre-sort mail, standard mail, FedEx and UPS shipping. We as university institutions, we get huge discounts for these services. That doesn't mean that you have to give your customer the complete discount. That means you apply your markup and give them the difference between the retail and your markup, and you show that to them as a savings. If you're not selling retail products, I encourage you to do so. I use a wholesale vendor. I sell everything from tape to the bubble wrap envelopes to boxes. I know for some of us that are contract stations, we get it free from our vendors. But be mindful, I am in the business of making a profit. So I upsell unless they request it. We give them the option uh, to choose particular products, and then you also got to make it appealing. At the holidays, I run out of bubble wrap envelopes because individuals are sending gifts, but I also provide them with those resources that they normally would get at the other at off-campus shipping centers. We don't want them to leave the campus in order to get those services. Um, Postcards, very inexpensive, cost me less than 8 cents to make, and I sell them at 50 cents a pop and sell a ton of them. And I have it right there at my service windows. One, you're promoting the school's brand, but you're also making a profit. School supplies. Yes, we have a bookstore. Yes, uh, we have some retail locations, but I sell at my retail locations school supplies. In the library, I have a business center, a full service student copy center with wide format printing and self serve copiers. But dry erase markers, my biggest seller, note cards, blue books, and Scantrons. Uh, because they are specialty items, I get the opportunity to sell them in my operation. Other retail services, renting mailboxes. So I have smart lockers in my operation, but I have over almost 200 faculty and staff that utilize those services through my smart lockers. So I rent to faculty and staff and give them a UNCW address so that they can have parcel ships. I get 2 deliveries a day from external vendors. Our faculty and staff spend more than over half of their day here on the campus, and it's quick and convenient. They don't have to worry about the porch pirates taking their parcels, and they use the same process as our students do to receive their parcels in mail. So yes, I rent to faculty and staff here on campus. Also, another inexpensive revenue opportunity is notary services. Providing notary services for your students, faculty, and staff. We provide that for them. My cost and my expense is an $85 training session and a notary book and stamp. And I charge $4.99 per notary. And so if those are another revenue operation. I've already had the staff and the team already here on campus and readily available. So that's another revenue option that's for you. Especially classroom items. If you're not selling Scantrons and blue books, oh, you're missing out on an opportunity at your retail locations or even at your post office. These are required for classroom work and tests. And I got 25 cents. I think our Scantrons, depending on which one you get, is a little bit more than that. I want to say it's almost 75 cents now. But we also sell bull books as well. These are specialty items that typically are sold in the bookstore. Because they are a specialty item, I get the opportunity to sell them in my retail location. Paid advertisement, another stream of revenue. Those that you have monitors on our paid, we get paid advertisement. We're allowed to receive revenue through paid advertisement on our monitors. across campus. We promote restaurants, church events, uh, even the apartment complex when they have rentals available. We've had our admissions folks put ads on there for financial aid and even athletics events. These are services that I used to put into my mailboxes, the paper copies, but now I'm gone totally digital. And now we promote those services through paid advertisement, and we charge by the month to run our particular ads.
Michael, can you give us a sense of what type of revenue you're generating from those paid advertisements?
Well, when I did box stuffings, I used to charge at a rate of um, box stuffings. It was 5 cents a box, so I was almost $450 for the box stuffings. For the paid advertisement, I think we're just a little bit 135 for 1 month run. But you got to be mindful. I have over 4,000 students that come and get mail from me weekly. I'm in a courtyard where food services is, so I get a ton of traffic in those locations. And I run that ad at my multiple locations. And the only thing I'm doing is putting it on a flash drive and letting it go and circulate. So it is a very effective way of communicating and advertising to the campus. And I'm just a little bit less than what they charge in athletics and what they charge in housing because they're providing the same services. I am a passport acceptance facility. I do have a passport office in which we do extremely well. We're the busiest office on campus. We have both walk-in and on-site services, walk-in and appointment services. We had to start appointment services once COVID started, but we did go back to walk-in traffic, and we do extremely well. And coming soon, I'm currently working with the Indisha Group on adding TSA pre-check. So that's something that hopefully in the real near future. And one of the things, these services doesn't cost much to interact. The TSA pre-check, they provide all the equipment and service. Only thing I had to do was just meet the space and parking requirements. For the passport office, doesn't cost me anything. I just have to have individuals that are trained and certified in that process. So these are services that allow me to make revenue, and the only thing I really need to get it off the ground is space. All right, so I'm going to either turn it over to Don or answer questions going forward. Somebody asked the question, do you need some kind of affiliation to do passports? Passports operations are normally with state or federal entities. So us being a state institution, we met the requirements for a passport facility. And I think Don may talk a little bit more about that as well, because he has a passport operation as well. And then my clothes and money, I want to just quote this quote, money is plentiful for those who understand the simple law that governs its acquisition. And it's important us as service providers that we understand our revenue stream. And I think a lot of us look at the production side of it, but not understand how the money flows or what does it take in order to gain access to those revenue streams. You have to look at what they do in the private sector, how they market, how they target, how they brand, and engage those customers as they do in the private sector in the university environment. I think one of the biggest debates here that we have is here on our campus, and I give you a good example that I use. You have customers that when it comes to mayonnaise, they do Dukes, Miracle Whip, or Helms, and they're attracted not more so of the taste, but the brand that it carries because of the taste that it provides. And that's how you have to apply your service. Create your brand, lure them in, and then guide them to that service so that you create loyalty, and in return, you create revenue. This is my contact information. If it's something that you want to discuss specific, Don, I apologize for going into your time, but I apologize, Don. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Excellent stuff.
Now,
Don,
let me add a couple great things real quick, and then we can see what we want to do. I can listen to Mike every single time he gives a presentation, and I find new stuff every single time. But I knew trying to put me and Mike on the same sessions are difficult because we both have a ton of information we love to share. Good news, if you like what Mike's doing, he's going to be holding the CUMSA conference in March next year at Wilmington as operation. I'm excited about going there. And we'll both be speaking at NACOMS in July. So these were abbreviated classes, but I think right now I don't know how much, are we going to try to do another session in here, Brenda?
I know you decreased to 20 minutes, so let's go ahead with it, and then
Okay.
I'm just going to let everyone know that you and I discussed doing something together again in August. So if you we'll also do something in August that really relates to the passport and the TSA, because I think that is something that everyone can make some additional revenue on. So whatever we miss here, we can also add on to that one in August. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Don.
Let's see.
Let me stop.
Seeing if this is the right one. This might not be the right one here. Again, stop share. Okay, so can you guys see a presentation then?
yep, we can see it.
Okay. All right. So, all right, we'll be kind of zooming through this. There's a lot of information in here. Luckily, me and Mike share a lot of stuff. Mike's got the ability to do more than I do. I'm always a little jealous of all the great things he can get away with. Mine's a little more restrictive. My bosses aren't as liberal with letting me get away with some of that great stuff, but I got a lot of pictures in here. And generally, I'll send this presentation to people when they ask for it, or you can just come to NACOMS. All right, so I'm always trying to focus on this little, what I call the circle of mail center life. Providing smart solutions, generating revenue, reducing costs, marketing the services, customer service, getting the right business partners, measuring stuff, education, just almost exactly what you just heard from Mike. All right, so typical mail centers, we're considered a drain on the budget, limited in value, forgotten except in emergencies like COVID, mostly manual operations, an easy but boring job, outdated facilities. You know, that's at a lot of places I go and see. But there's also some great places out there, and that's where we all need to get. You know, smart equipment is required, technology. I would say our manual operations is less than 20% now. I mean, so much more stuff is being done by the machines, from sorting to printing to lockers to, point of sale. Uh, Organized and efficient. It's amazing to me how many places I go into that just removing equipment and studying their processes is a game changer. They're like moving mail all the way down to then bring it back out instead of having it stop as soon as it gets in the door and do what they got to do. And you know, customer service, Mike says it, I say it, if you've got the people doing your customer service that don't have the right attitude, you're just losing things. You want everybody that deals with the customers, no matter what, to say that, hey, we are not the only show in town. They can go elsewhere for mail. They can go elsewhere for passports. They can go elsewhere for printing. So you've got to treat it like you are competing for every customer and you don't want to lose one. All right. Just our smart mail center pictures there. Without smart solutions, not enough space. And I try to get to the two things, right? Most operations I go and see, they're struggling either to get more efficient or they're trying to raise revenue so they can get more efficient by buying the right equipment. There's still places out that are using 3x5 cards to track student records. Old-fashioned mailboxes, and why haven't you thought about going to the lockers? We don't have money. And so, you got to raise the revenue. You got to cut the cost, and all that stuff that Mike had just said previously on how you do that was great advice. So I won't have to worry about going in detail about that. All right. If you don't have the revenue and you don't have a super great budget, and I think most schools I go across, the bosses aren't overly generous by having tons of extra money in their budget. But when I got to ETSU, my total income coming in, that was revenue coming in, was about 25,000. We're over 300,000 now. And that's the same crew, same people. Same number of bodies, just added more services, added more, products and stuff. So when people say, yeah, I can't do that. Yes, I'm going to go over that briefly on some of it with Matt. You got to measure stuff. It's amazing to me how people don't keep any measurements on anything. And so when you ask them stuff, how many packages you get in a day? Between 100 and 1,000. Well, that's just, you might as well not even know. All right. So it all starts with having the right solution. So I'm not going to go a lot over lockers. I think most of us have seen lockers. We know lockers are great. Lockers are what made most of my stuff possible, because getting lockers and saving the efficiency in my operation is how I was able to add other services with the same people, because they no longer were taking a ton of time to process mail. All right. So lockers were great, but the smart rear loaded mailboxes, game changer, so much more efficient, so much less room. You could see I had 8,700 individual PO boxes. The amount of time we spent on everything involved with the doors and the locks and labels and quality check. It was really just a half a day operation every day just to get the mail up and out. Now we're done with all our mail sorting and delivery by 8:15, and we start at 7:30. All right. Always hear the adage, never give up space, never, ever. I've been told that since the day I got here. So this is a configuration of how my boxes used to be. All those little ins and outs that were all individual PO boxes on the wall. Well, we gave away all the space. The bookstore came in, they drove more traffic, but we have a great big entrance from us to them, and our space is a lot less. So bosses were happy about that, and we were able to use innovation to get way more efficient. And that's just an example while we're talking about building them into the wall, loading them behind. I won't go over much time on that. If you're interested in hearing more about that, let me know. But I really like to always talk about it for the main reason is that's how you get more efficient. And Mike, you heard Mike say it, you got to get efficient in your operation. If you are doing things the old fashioned way, wasting time, I mean, it's just, you're just throwing money away. All right. So smart mailboxes, not just for letters, easier loading, mail retrieval, notifications go out. You can see everything. I can go home at night and see what's happening. Way smaller footprint, uh, integration with all your other systems, and accountability. It's nice to know that every single piece of mail that you get in your operation, you're going to have a way of saying it got delivered, it got picked up, it got returned, it got disposed of, it got held, it got forward. It's very efficient. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but like I said, if you want this presentation, it's got more information in there. High density folders, my personal pet peeve is, if you're still handing mail into a folder, which means you're forcing kids to come and pick up while you're open, then you're having somebody handle that mail again. You're limiting the hours. And when they go anywhere else and find out I can pick it up anytime I want, it's more convenient. Warren Buffett used to say about money, if you were not making mail while you're sleeping, making money while you're sleeping, you're going to be working the rest of your life. Well, I feel the same way about mail. If you're not delivering mail while you're sleeping, you're never going to get caught up with your mail. You're always struggling to try to keep caught up. So that's why you want the 24/7 delivery option for all your mail, not just packages. Pretty good example where I used to have at the end of every semester 8 to 12 2-foot letter trays of mail that did not get picked up, and that's with email notices, reminders, everything. Well, this shows you on graduation, we had 52 packages, letters, parcels, newspapers, total on graduation day. That's what we strive for to get to 50 on graduation day. Refrigerated lockers, we have that just recently installed. Another great option. On the weekends, we get a lot of HelloFresh. We got football players ordering that stuff like crazy. I got a big VA population. Lots of these servicemen getting drugs that need to be refrigerated. It comes in on a Thursday. I didn't want to leave it in a locker because I don't know if they're going to pick up before Monday and then stuff. So we told the bosses, hey, I'm just giving you guys an option. If we get the refrigerated lockers, they can pick it up 24/7. Nobody's going to get bad food. Nobody's going to get bad medicine. If you don't want to do it, then I just officially gave you the answer. And of course, they immediately said, yes, we don't want to be like Don told us we should have done this and then be wrong. Dummy lockers. I talked to Brenda earlier about this. Couple places that we have remote locations with no electrical, no landline. These things work great. I prefer the smart lockers, of course, but this is another great operation for efficiency. We used to have to deliver to these 28 locations, floor by floor, door by door, and we have that in 2 of our biggest locations for offsite. Digitalized mail. Another great thing about technology is the company I work with, they're getting the process quicker and faster, but it's really nice to have a record I can view on the computer of all the letter mail that I'm sending to departments. That if somebody calls up and asks me a question about it, I say, well, yeah, we put that in the locker 3 days ago. Have you been over to pick up? Oh, no, I'm working from home. Okay. All right, thanks. So there's a lot of stuff about digitalized mail that I love. Things to consider, all right? Total mail processing is not just packaging. You've got to account for the letters. You've got to try to coordinate that across the board. Over 30% of all our mail gets picked up after we go home. 90% of our shelving space was completely eliminated. Do not get high density folders. Do not get a separate package tracking system if you can get the right company. You don't want to pay double. Do not apply wasted money on labels going on to packages. It's just wasted money that's not necessary. Find the business partners that will work with you to get the total mail delivery solution. If they can only do part of the job, you need to either ask them to do more or maybe look somewhere else. When I started working with Brynka, I gave them several things I talked to Brenda about, and she quickly jumped on it and said, Don, we can do that. We can do that. We can't do it tomorrow like you like, but we can do it. I said, okay, we can do it a week later. All right. Outsource mail operations. And I speak against this all the time at a lot of conferences I go to. The reason why places get outsourced is because nobody wanted to have the vision to embrace technology. Nobody had the desire to make the needed changes at the current operation, or the leadership in charge of the mail center did not have a good relationship with their leadership. And that's the ones I've seen where they've got outsourced. Bad relationship with your bosses, never going to work well with you. So that's the mail sorting. I give almost a whole class on just that alone. All right. So passports, I'll spend a few slides on this one, but we're going to do this later on, so I won't spend much here. The later class I do gives you every specific nuts and bolts that you'll need to know. You want to get the right camera. There's great systems out there that simplify the process, speed up the process. I've gone to people where they're using just regular old cheap cameras and taking a memory stick out, walking across the room, putting it into a printer. I mean, that's just a waste of time. Online appointments are critical. Yes, walk-ins are nice, but you can really schedule your operation with that.
Hey, Don,
Money orders and retail sales, right? You're going to do a passport business. On the renewals, they need to mail them out, where they're going to come to your window. If they need money orders, they're going to get them from you. People don't have checks anymore, it seems. They're very hard to come by unless they're a little older like Mike. And most important decisions about passports, how to get started, the best practices and best equipment, and then the marketing. And Mike talked to Lynn, again, a lot about marketing, and I give a whole part on that, examples, great ways. And a lot of them apply to your other operations too. But passports was the one I really focus on.
hey, Don.
Yes.
So can you talk to the universities that are on the call that may be private?
Okay. So we're going to get to that right here coming up. So if you're a state agency, a state university, you can apply for passports. I don't know of any that have ever been told no twice. I've had a couple asked and they were not doing it at that time, but they waited and they got back on. Sometimes they had some bogus excuses and I told them that wasn't right and they need to go back and ask, and they did, and they got it. But if you're not a public university, you still have the ability to do a passport photo operation. And you're going to do passport photos for people, but we have a lot of medical here. We have pharmacy. We have the regular medical offices. They all need state licensure, 2x2 photos. And we do a lot of those. You got study abroad, people need visas. We got international students that we can't do their passport, but we do a lot of their photos when they need to renew. So there is a chance to get it. And you'll see just on my photos alone coming up, it's a very substantial amount of money for a very little investment and almost no training. All right. You make up your mind. Here's some of these other things I talked about, and then you sell it. I started off at 8, went to 10, went to 12, went to 15. I've never had anybody ask me why I changed the price. I think I had one person when we went to 15 this year said, well, when I signed up, it was still only 12. I will honor that. Oh, great. They're happy. One out of all these years of doing it. All right, so here's just some of the numbers that you can see how I've grown. Total revenue, we went from 34, 37, 48, 42. We were just kicking it that year. We were going to easily go to 60. COVID hit. We stayed open for passports through COVID, but it really took us down, 29. We came back out of it, and that was a part of year. And then you can see 97, 113. We're up to 121 now, and we still got the month of June to go. We'll pull another 10,000 in this month. But look over there on the photo money, total photos, just photos alone, we've done just almost 16,000. So 16,000 times 12 or 15, pretty sizable amount of money that you're looking at, over the years. But just this year alone, it was a really nice number. You can see up here where it says total number of photos and that. Photo revenue just this year alone, and we're not done, $39,000. Hey, that's a pretty good piece of chunk of change. All right. So if you're going to do a passport operation, your students and your staff will stay at a pretty static number once you get going. It'll be about the same. It's where you're going to make your money is the out in town public, right? That is where it's really at. 75% of my business is from out in town, and word of mouth. It doesn't take much advertising out in town because it's word of mouth. Our president loves that we focus on the out in town, because outside of the post office and the passport office, if you're a person not affiliated to ETSU, what can you come to ETSU that they can provide you? Sports. That's about it. If you're not a student or a faculty or staff, there's nothing we're going to do for you. You can come to sporting events, or we have like a Martin Entertainment Center. Anybody can come to those, but these two businesses open to the public. Postal, passport. Lots of ways to focus on drawing those numbers. That's another class, right? But the big line I love to tell everybody, and this is what was on TV when we opened up our passport. That's me there. As I said, hey, the goal of our President Nolan is that every student will leave this campus with a diploma in one hand and a passport in the other, where they can pursue their dreams wherever it takes them in the world. Of course, he wished I would have gave him that line because he spoke before me, and he still lets me not forget that I didn't give him that line, but that's what made it on TV. All right. So print area. Mike's got a far bigger print area, and there's a couple things I still got to get with him to do things. But I basically have three types of printers. I have a flatbed printer. I have a wide format printer, and then I have the envelope printers, and they all do a lot. And we have a button making business that's just a nice little freebie thing that makes us good money too. But I'll show you some examples. We're going to run through those. But here's the three pieces of equipment. You can get a lot more. You can buy a digital press, and you pay a per click fee. Some of that stuff on the digital press is far more competitive. The stuff I'm doing on these machines make a lot of money, lots of overhead, lots of profit, and still way cheaper than anybody out in town. All right. So there's some cost, and then I haven't updated this for this year yet, but you can see up there our revenue income just on those three types of machine, $115,000. What we ended up making on that was $90,000. So the overhead pretty darn low, and that's at we're over 130 as of the end of May for this year, and we're going to have in our pocket well over $100,000 after cost. Again, I'm using the same people I had when I got here that were doing just mail. We haven't hired anybody to come in and do printing, and nobody coming to do passport. Everybody's cross-trained. And then here's some really quick examples of just ideas out there that's so simple to do. With everything I'm going to show you is we're doing with those three machines. And all of them make money. And this calendar, I love this. Best marketing tool I've ever had. Stole this from Harvard or Yale, I think it was. We put this calendar out, and it shows the key dates for the students and the key dates for the employees, holidays, graduation days, and it's got our postal, passport, and printing phone numbers and points of contact right there. I gave one to every department on campus for free. I'm a nice guy. And then if they want any more for the department, they just paid $1. And then the next year they paid $2. And then this year they paid $3. Well, I've actually been doing it, for like 9 years, but we incrementally went up. Nobody's ever bargained about it. And I've got departments like counseling that'll buy 100 all by themselves. So we made over $2,000 on this calendar with less than $120 expense. And you can't go anywhere. And they start now, they're asking for next year's because it starts in August. We've already got departments. Don, when's the next calendar coming out? Because they love these, and every cubicle for counseling. And everybody who has to do anything fits on a little tiny small space. So it's huge, but I do it from the marketing perspective. It just happens to make me a lot of money. We can print on all those things, examples. I love, people hate now that we got athletics, that everybody's entering the portal and transferring. Well, it's not a bad deal if you're in the print business. because we do for all the lockers on campus for all the sports. We do the little slide in name things, and we do posters and things. And man, when half the team changes over every year, they need half their stuff redone. So it's a great tool for that. Just some cost there on the wide format printer and the things that we do on there. Of course, we do our flatbed printer, do a yard signs. Mike had talked about, he gets them for those cheap. He's outsourced that, and I got to get with him, but it only costs us like $340 to do a sign, and we sell them for 17. So it's a great deal if you have almost no time or knowledge needed to run it. But if I can do it for cheaper and easier than that with listening to Mike, I'll be doing that. Sandwich boards, just more again, all these, these are various sizes. Whatever size the customer wants, we'll get it for them. Some want it for travel, some want it for a small size, some people want it big, some people want it like, 6 feet wide. It doesn't matter. All right. All these signs. Here's another great one. Congratulations, graduates. It cost us $74 to make this 30-foot banner. We sell it to the graduation office for $500 every semester. They were paying $1,000 a banner out in town. So they think we're superheroes to them because it's half the price, and we're making over $400 and some for every banner. Wall decals, etching, one-way see-through. That's on the passport office. You can't see in, but we can see out perfectly. Etched glass looking things. Our golf cart, it's our billboard for marketing. We got postal on one side, printing on another, passport on another. Wherever I put that thing, it's advertising. Wherever I drive, it's advertising. It sits right outside my door with the passport information out most of the time. Wrapping elevators. That's a big, huge mural that covered the whole basketball coach's room where they do all the video screening and stuff on a wall. Sodexo, our food service company, their printer went down, so they just came to us. Hey, we don't really have to worry about keeping people trained or buying a new machine, so we do it for them. Stretch canvas, where you can wrap it around the frames. They look better in person on the things. Other trips like this in our passport office, we got all these made up to decorate the office. Fatheads, every season, like especially basketball, we'll get a lot of fathead requests. Students want to make them, the coaches want to make them. Very inefficient. I mean, very, very cost effective. Wrapping equipment anywhere on campus. Laptops, all sorts of things. This is our button making business. A kit for under $500. Let's just do 3 sizes, gives you everything you need. And whatever picture you want, you put it on a button, it can make it. And once we started doing this, the student organization, they're running for election. So the president of the running for election, he wanted his face with "vote for me." And we gave him like 500 of them, sold them, not gave. All right. Retail window. Money to be made up there. You can see all that stuff Mike's doing. I wish I could sell all that stuff. I tried. My bosses don't have the vision. We do some stuff limited, but you can make money, get the right point of sale system. You're going to make money on the discount postage that you're selling. Customers got to pay retail. You can rent boxes out. We have some envelopes and boxes, especially the ones that we brand unique, that we print on the boxes for like graduations and holidays. Other things here, tape and bubble wrap, pre-printed decorated boxes. Like I said, you can sell the USPS money orders. Mike does the non-USPS and makes a nice little chunk of change on those. Stuffing the flyers. We do both, like Mike said, advertise on our screen, or I used to have one for every box and there was 8,700 of them. Well, now I've got 500 smart doors, and I'll tell somebody, hey, I'll sell you 8 cents a piece. Give me 2,000, and every time someone gets a package or a letter, I'll put your flyer on there. You're guaranteed to have them picking that up in a day or two. It won't sit in the mailbox until the end of the semester like it used to. And they'll usually run out, in a couple of days when school starts. They're going to be gone. Try to make the area more organized. Everything should be in a U shape in most cases to make it more efficient. I've really I'm always amazed when I go places. They find ways that I could never have imagined if I was trying to say, like, how inefficient could I be? I've seen some places come up with stuff I could never imagine. And I've been doing mail since 1981. You know, rough sort area, revenue producing, manual inserting. If you got student workers, that's cheap labor. We got a machine, but sometimes we tell them that we can only do so much, and I'd rather do it on the manual. We charge more. Address management services. I have alumni give us a great big list. They pay for my entire address management software for the entire year with one run through because they got 250,000 people that they want to run through it. And so for the rest of the year, I'm just making money by charging everybody else on their mailings for their address management system. Package processing surcharge. We charge $3 for every package that we put a label on. Student fees for mail support. You know, we charge it's a hidden fee that goes out, and it's charged every single student, even the ones that don't live on campus. It adds up pretty nicely. It's a small fee. And there's some other stuff you can see. Certified mail program. We make money on this. It's a great service. The people love it because they control it from their desk. They got a record on their desk. They don't have to come to us to ask questions. They're going to see everything. They have the records of delivery. But yeah, we sell them the envelopes and we make money on every envelope. We sell them when they need it and they have to use our envelopes. Summer storage program. You know, great thing. You know, our test one went last year, $10 per box, up to 4 boxes, $10 per month. So if you're a student that gave me 4 boxes that we sold them the cardboard box, it was $160 for the summer per person. We did a 50 test run. We sold out all 50 slots in the first day. So we had a lot of foreign students that said, I don't have any place to take this. I don't want to take it home. So we made the same box sizes so we could stack them on the walls, nice and neat. It's just in my existing mail space on the wall spaces that we had that we could move stuff for. Package mailing kiosk, you can put some money there. 3D printing and engraving services, the electronic fingerprint, TSA pre-check. I tried to do it. I just couldn't give them the parking spots. We're in a spot where I can't guarantee them any parking spots. We do notary services. You can do shredding services. And some schools in the mail are doing the scooter rental there. That they just go around and pick them up and put them on the stands at night. That's basically the extent. If they break, the company comes in and takes it. Somebody takes it off campus, it shuts down. You know, great way to make some extra money with just using student workers. All right, cross-train your staff. Every wasted step you do is money. Every click that you have to do that's not needed is money and time. Missing any discounts can add up. Labels are costly. If you're not needing to print them, don't do them. My student temp workers, they are passport trained. So they work in my passport office. And, you know, hey, that's pretty darn cheap labor too. And they got the right attitude. If they work for me as a temp worker / student worker, they will have the right attitude or they'll be gone. Don't overpay for your products and services and your maintenance agreements. I got rid of the Pitney Bowles meter machine maintenance program after year 3 because they were charging me an arm and a leg. And I said, I'll just pay for you guys to come and fix it. Well, instead of paying $4,000 a machine, 2 machines, I ended up spending $700 that year. The next year, I didn't spend any money. The following year, I spent about $1,200, and at that time, they wanted $6,000 of maintenance agreement on each machine. So sometimes the maintenance agreements make sense, but if you got a good machine that's reliable, maintenance machines are just a nice way to make money for those companies. All right, marketing. You know, I got a separate class on that, especially when we do the passport stuff. So I'm going to not spend too much time on that. But like Mike said, you got it. He does a great job on branding. If you can make that happen, you're going to be more successful. You know, it's a great thing to learn from. All right, marketing tools, electronic billboards all over campus, our lobby, campus newspaper. We do certain ads, like when at the end of the semester, they're going to put an ad and they're going to keep that same paper on the shelves all summer long for the tour groups that come through. And they give them out to every tour group and every parent. And what's in there? My ad stays in there all summer. and it was one fee, and because they don't change it out once the last article that's is designed to be the summer issue. Great amount of marketing and very cheap. Presentations at all these organizations. Publicize your awards and accomplishments. If you're not bragging about you, who's going to do it, right? You have to brag about yourself. So when we get an award, we make a big deal about it. We get every publication possible to put it in there. You know, that is all letting people know, man, Postal does a good job here. Keep your bosses informed on all your kind of new milestones and achievements, and word of mouth. The best tool you can have on your operation is word of mouth. If that's bad word, that's the worst. But if it's good, there's nothing better. All the marketing you're going to spend is not going to make up for word of mouth. Right business partner is critical. Again, I will always say that. Make them work for you. Believe everyone can give you a discount. Shop around. And just because you signed up with somebody, don't stay with them if they're not performing. Now, I'm lucky. I do a really good job of shopping around. So when I sign up for somebody, they almost always stay with me, but one or two have been kicked out the door because they didn't live up to it. I'm not going to say like Squibix's name and, you know, that I got Brynka ever since then, but, you know, if I was name dropping, that's what I would say. And then passport and photo services. We already talked about that. Printing, 3 printers, mailing service fees, window service fees, department service fees. I don't do this. I wanted to. You know, we don't charge our departments for anything at one point. Now I charge them for doing packages, putting a label on there. But I mean, if I only charged them $10 a month for all the delivery we do, they'd still be happy to do it. Just my CFO doesn't want to do it. It's just what a piece of chunk of change I could get in. And I talked to other departments about it. Oh yeah, it seems reasonable for you guys delivering the mail every day and all this and picking it up and doing all the things. And, you know, they don't pay a dime for it. We charge students for our services, that hidden fee, but departments don't pay a dime until I started charging them for, like, you know, if they mail something, yes. Or if they print something, yes. But just mail delivery fee, they were getting away with murder. All right. Market your center, business partners, embrace world-class customer service. So that is as quick as I could go through. You know, so now I'll open it up to any questions if anybody's still with us. Doesn't look like there's a lot here.
No, but thank you, Don. I really, and we're going to do August 14th. So put that on your calendar. Don, look at your calendar now, August 14th. I'd like to do Thursday.
Okay.
Only because it's usually people in the summer kind of leave on Fridays. So Thursday is a good day to end the day.
Yeah. Doing it on Friday is a waste.
Yeah. So yeah, passport and also the TSA. I think that is another good moneymaker. The other is, how do you get space? You know, because space is so limited. Do you
Well,
normally?
like you said, in my case, we gave up space, become more efficient. And I had some space, but then I negotiated for the 3 spaces where my passport office is and my office and the conference room. And there was a 1-foot thick wall that separated us, 1-foot cement thick wall. But they didn't have a plan what they were going to do with these 3 offices because they were just not in the renovation plan. So I had them put a door through this 1-foot wall. Then they had to give me steps to get to the second part, put a hole through that wall. It's worked out great. But yeah, a lot of times it's like, you know, if you're making money or you're providing a valuable service that people love, they will help you find space. But if you are just in the basement, hiding out, just doing what we've always done, people don't realize you're even there. And you're not going to be the priority on getting space, that's for sure.
Do you tell them or show them possible benefits and revenue to get this space before getting that space?
In my case, they were taking away all of that space. And so they came to me and said, Don, we're going to have to take all the space away. You wrote an article a couple of years ago about how these rear-loaded, built-in-the-wall mailboxes were going to be able to let you get rid of all this boxes and stuff. I said, well, that was just something I wrote. It never actually existed yet. And they go, well, you might want to make it happen because we got to take all that space away from you. And so when they took all that space, I think they felt like they should give me this space that I put my passport office in just because they didn't have a plan for it. They probably would have came up with something, but I was the first one to ask for it. But I think, we're in a great location. I'm in the student center.
Yeah.
We're the busiest building on campus. I wouldn't want to move to another place. I could have on the print side, because we don't get as much direct customer involvement there. But of course, passports and the postal side, we definitely need to be in here. But a lot of that is just being like Mike said, he is the expert on his campus. And because he's proven it time after time after time, people listen when he speaks. And that's what, I'm always trying to tell everybody else. You've got to be known. You've got to do something. And, once you get a reputation of, man, when Mike touches this, it turns to gold. When Don touches this, it turns to gold. It's easier to convince people. So.
All right.
That's-
Thank you so much, Don. We look forward to your next, and we look forward. I will see you at NACOMS in July in
We'll see you
Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you again.
Thanks, Don. Great stuff.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.